Our phones, always collecting data. Isn't it fun? Now, of course, we find information that Samsung lower-end models may be adding spyware onto your equipment, kind of like Lenovo did with that advertising ID application they ended up getting sued into oblivion over. But let's go ahead and talk about this. Thanks for checking out this video by Switch to Linux. If you like this type of content, leave us a like and a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so. And of course, our world is getting crazier with our phones. Are we going to be able to install applications we want without Google intervening? We don't know. There's some pushback on the the user verification. There is also a push to say, yeah, some people just want to install it and never mind the security risk. Of course, I use Graphene OS, which people are, even governments are like, yeah, we hate that phone. We can't crack it. Ultra private as well as being ultra secure, which is always a good push as well. And of course, this is also coming to us at a time where our culture is having all of these giant economic issues over phones costing thousands of dollars now. And it's an interesting thing. It's just one of those tangential points where people say, oh, our economy's so bad because wages aren't going up and all this. I understand that. There is a lot of truth to that. A lot of truth to that. But we also spend way more money on things like phones and subscription services and stuff that we didn't buy when we were younger. But this isn't an economic discussion. We did want to talk about phones. But the reason it's important is I do not think a person that cannot buy your phone outright should be having a $1,000 phone. So in the past, I've said, hey, if you really have to have a smartphone, get a cheap garbage phone from like Walmart on a prepaid plan. That way it's cash for it. And you can use a lot of those functions and they work. They're not glamorous. They're not amazing. And you're certainly not winning GK points for style, but you will have a functioning phone. Now, the problem with that is that many of those phones do actually have malware installed on some level. We saw this with the Obama phone. The Obama phone, give me an Obama phone. Or this is a program that allowed people to low-income people, people qualified for SNAP and things like that, were able to get a significant price discounts on internet and on cell phones. So the idea is that people have to have a smartphone in order to apply for jobs. And so now we have a way to get lower-end smartphones. Now, I like the fact there are the option for lower-end smartphones. I do not think we should be buying $1,000 phones, and I certainly don't think we should be buying $1,000 phones on payment plans only to trade them in before it's done. And just like a car, we are rolling over a previous lease into the next one, and our payments just keep going up, and we never really own our devices. This is why I like pawn shops. I like Amazon. I like Best Buy, particularly open box phones. I picked up this Graphene OS phone for $150 at a pawn shop. Actually, I think it was listed $150. I think we got a little bit less because I waved some Benjamins in front of the guy and like, how much do you want to sell that phone? You looking for a discount? Really happened. I was there with a friend of mine. I was actually buying a computer with cash to install Linux for a friend of mine. And at the same time, we see this Graphene OS phone or this Pixel 5a phone. And I'm like, yeah, I can install Graphene on that bad boy. I'm like, hey, if you throw in that phone at a little bit of discount, I'll throw another Benjamin on the table here. Like, yeah, we'll do that, and, but that's the thing is I have not paid, I think the most I've paid for a phone, at least in the last 10 years, I think the Razor, I think I still have it down here too. It's my backup phone in case something goes wrong, which is good. Actually, always have a backup phone. I think I paid $250 for this one. I can't remember. And it still works great, by the way. It is an awesome phone even to this day. I had to use it this summer a little bit when my screen cracked on the Graphene, so I switched back over to that one, and it worked great. But even that phone I paid $250 for. And the fact is, though, those are high-end phones. These do not have the type of spyware and malware. The problem is sometimes your budget phones do. And this is interesting from Malwarebytes. A budget Samsung phones shipped with unremovable spyware, say researchers. Of course, we had to up the ante. It's not only is it unremovable spyware, it's unremovable Israeli spyware. The world is going to end. It's Israeli. All right. But the controversy over data gathering software secretly installed on Samsung phones has erupted again. So in a post on the social media site, cybersecurity newsletter International Cyber Digest warned about selective application called App Cloud that Samsung has allegedly put on phones. Software, it said, was unremovable Israeli spyware. And all this harks back to May when the digital rights group SMEX, I'm not sure exactly how we shorthand write that, published an open letter to Samsung accused of the company of installing App Cloud on Galaxy A and M series devices, although stopping short of calling it spyware, opting for the more slightly diplomatic bloatware. The application apparently installs on phone in West Asia and North Africa did more than just take up storage space, though. According to SMEX, it collected sensitive information, including biometric data and IP addresses. The analysis of the software developed by Israeli company IronSource is deeply integrated into the device's operating system. You need root access to remove it, and doing so voids the warranty. Samsung partnered with IronSource since 2022, carrying out its Aura toolkit for telecom companies and the device maker in more than 30 markets, including Europe. Pair expanded partnerships the same month that the U.S. company Unity Technologies, makes Unity game engine, completed its $4.4 billion acquisition. They say Samsung's role on the newly released A and M mobile devices over 50 markets across MENA, strengthening Aura's footprint in the region. The investigation of the products points to software called Core, which it cites in its own research. The software, which is touted as an advertising technology platform, can install other products without user permission. So remember back, it was about over a decade ago. I think it was like 2012, 2013, maybe 2013, 2014. Lenovo had this application installed on its computers that was basically a high-level advertising ID that you could not get rid of, and it was able to scrape all sorts of information and send it to an advertising company, which would sell data about you. This caused a big lawsuit as people looked at this, and they actually agreed to take it down, and I think they agreed to delete the data. This is a long time ago. I didn't go back and find the article in the archives to read about it again. But this is apparently what Samsung says they're doing, is the A and the M models in some regions. Now, right here, it says just some Asian and African countries, but if this is now a U.S.-owned company and U.S. is just known for its data surveillance, who's to say that United States phones wouldn't have a similar application? Very much like that high-level advertising ID system, Samsung installs something which is able to collect a lot of information on the high level of the phone. You can't get rid of the application. You can't do anything about it. This is a serious privacy risk, and we have to acknowledge that. Of course, Samsung has had some other privacy issues as well. But the point here is that your phone can indeed contain a lot of bloatware, a lot of malware, and things like that. And this is why I think at one hand, maybe if you can't afford a big premium phone, maybe stick with the flip phones for a while. But you can buy some of the cheap phones from Walmart. You can still buy smartphones there for like $50 or something. Last I saw, I don't know, maybe it's $100 now, but still that's significantly cheaper than paying. I don't know how much people are paying for their phones on a monthly basis now to never pay it off, to roll it over. But when you do get a lower end phone, you have a greater risk of this, especially if it's one with a locked bootloader, that you can't do something amazing like install Graphene OS, or even Lineage would be a good thing. Just any custom thing that you can do would be the best way to go. So there's some thoughts, and I've kind of looked at Samsung products more recently and said, they're becoming too anti-consumer for me, so I'm not a huge fan of buying Samsung stuff these days. But still, be aware of that, particularly the A and the M models in some regions have that type of spyware, and so honestly, be cautious about what's going on with your devices. So let me know your thoughts about all that. Do you have Graphene OS, Lineage? Do you prefer any of those? Let me know your thoughts about all these things in the comments down below.